Okay, sounds good. Thanks for coming, Amber. It looks like it's your show tonight. So Amber, our budget manager, is going to take us through our proposed budget. And then do you want questions at the end or as each department or whatever presents?
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Good evening, Council. I think questions throughout the presentations by the directors. Right now here, initially I'll have a kind of an opening kind of remarks presentation, and then we'll get into the actual budget as it's been prepared, proposed for the 2024 to 2026 operating budget. Of course, Council has an opportunity to ask questions, provide any kind of feedback, recommend additions to or deletions to the budget as presented. I assume that after tonight, if there's some takeaways that that administration will take those back, and we'll start tomorrow's meeting. That'll be focused on the capital budget, but we'll start with like kind of a recap of any of those changes that have been suggested. Also, of course, we'll have the new CAO coming on board here in a couple of weeks, so I'm sure she'll also want to have a review of the budget prior to it coming to council for approval at the second meeting in November.
Thanks,
That's
Amber.
what our current timeline is. Yeah,
that's perfect. All right, well, take it away.
excellent. Thank you very much for being here tonight. The budget has been prepared by a committee, definitely not by any one person. The directors, as well as their reports, have all contributed to what you will see here tonight, covering all aspects of the operations of the town of Crossfield. I'd also like to do a shout out to Stephanie Conway for her beautiful photo that she took this year. I love it. And it's in all of the documents that I've prepared so far this budget season. So I hope she keeps taking more. So our agenda for tonight, we'll start off with some of the budget philosophy that we've taken or considered in developing this budget. Next, I want to kind of take council through exercise kind of in setting the stage for this budget. So including some review of what we heard in our budget survey, some macroeconomic comparisons, like looking at other municipalities of like size in Alberta and seeing where the town of Crossfield kind of stacks up in that crowd. Also, of course, we're impacted by our economy. So looking at some of the Alberta economic outlook that has been prepared by our financial institution, ATB. And then we'll get into the operating budget. Okay, there we go. So maintaining and improving the quality of life for everyone in the town of Crossfield depends on the efficient and reliable delivery of services, programs, and capital projects. Budget is the foundation for this work and determines how we pay for these vital services and investments for the town. These services affect you every day. The road systems that we depend on to get around, the police, bylaw, and fire services that we depend on for our safety, the parks and waste management services that contribute to a clean and healthy living, the social and leisure activities that help make the town a welcoming and dynamic community that we call home. Creating a complete community means continuing to provide quality services today, saving for our future needs, and delivering on the projects that will support us both now and into the future. Overarching themes and strategies that continue to influence the development of the 2024 budget and will be reinforced through all aspects of this presentation and presentations you'll see in the next two nights include long-term financial planning, provides the foundation to inform data-driven decisions to prioritize investment aligned with capacity to deliver and maintain an affordable municipal service delivery system. Keeping up with population growth and meeting the needs of a growing residential and commercial property tax paying base. Residential growth is expected to maintain the pace experienced in the last 5 years, growing at approximately 4% per year. The growing fiscal squeeze and continued economic uncertainty with changing business needs, supply chain challenges, inflationary concerns, and reliance on provincial grant funding. Uncertainties surrounding provincial and municipal responsibilities. This includes downloading of costs and services between levels of government. The multi-year budget enables an agile forecast to plan and respond to these changes in accordance with and aligning to the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan. The 2024 operating budget presented tonight proposes a 0% municipal property tax increase, a redistribution of the property tax split for non-residential properties to 1.2 times the residential mill rate, a 3% increase to the natural gas franchise fee, and a 6% increase to utility rates that was previously approved in 2022. Goods and supplies cost more each year. Just like our residents, the town faces the same cost increases. Considerable inflation impacting all sectors across Alberta, including municipalities, will be a determining factor on whether current service levels can be maintained while attempting to mitigate tax increases. An uncertainty surrounding future provincial operating and capital grants is a current issue, and there's still no determined funding formula under the local government fiscal framework. So budget 2024, we have 3 operating business cases that are included in the proposed budget: an e-government services business case, a full-time heavy-duty mechanic / operator business case, the full-time parks facilities operator 2, and a 2.5% cost of living adjustment. The proposed operating budget is $11.795 million, and the proposed capital budget that you'll hear tomorrow is budgeted at $1.437 million. So now let's review what we heard from the budget survey. So which statement best describes your position regarding property taxation? 44% of respondents supported a tax increase, whereas the highest number or frequency of answers was for the respondents that did not support a tax increase at 36%. And 20% were unsure. So based on, we took that, we heard that, and we've incorporated it into the budget that we have prepared. The top 3 ranked strategic priorities were town infrastructure, including buildings, fleet, roads, water mains. All these things are required to sustain community growth, sustainable community growth, including responsible land use, environmental protection, and economic impact, as well as parks, recreation, and beautification. Top community issues that came up during the survey were safety. Safety takes on many shapes, so I'll leave it fairly broad as it can be incorporated in many different areas of operation. Roads, recreation, taxation, and snow removal were the top 5 issues that were raised. So next, administration compared the town of Crossfield to like-sized municipalities. Municipal Affairs hosts a municipality measurement index dashboard that allows the public to view financial and statistical data across all Albertan jurisdictions. The municipal index is assigned to each jurisdiction to provide meaningful comparison based on equalized assessment, population, and geographic area. We used the towns of Barrhead, Carstairs, Claresholm, Didsbury, Fort Macleod, Penhold, Pincher Creek, Redwater, St. Paul, Sundre, Vermilion, and Westlock as our comparators. So in the first metric was residential tax rate. Shows the amount of tax payable for each $1,000 of taxable property assessment. So here you can see that the town of Crossfield is in the lower lower than average, I guess, mill rate in this respect. And so that's just good information. And it shows the amount of tax payable per $1,000 of taxable property assessment. And this is taken from our tax rate bylaw. So definitely competitive in that respect. The non-residential tax rate shows the amount of tax payable for every $1,000 of taxable property assessment. And this one is quite alarming because the town of Crossfield mill rate is substantially lower than all the others that we're comparing ourselves against. So this has been addressed in our in our budget. As I had previously mentioned, the mill rate for non-residential is increasing to 1.2 times the residential rate. Oh, looks like I went the wrong way. So this slide shows the municipal tax levy of an average residential assessment of $385,000, which is what our average in the town of Crossfield was in 2022. So it shows here that in blue, a resident would pay approximately $2,600, whereas a non-resident would pay $21,000. And we can see that there is no other community with that same type of trend. And we can also see that our rates are definitely in the lower compared to the rest of our comparing basket here. This is a great slide that shows the split between our assessment. So I think Crossfield's 70-30 split between residential and non-residential is a really healthy split. It shows that there is quite a big base, non-residential base in our assessment. And I think that we're fortunate to have that. Next, we talk about municipal debt per capita. The town of Crossfield is in the higher, kind of at the higher end of this metric, although it is interesting to see that approximately half of the municipalities in our sample have roughly the same short-term debt. So that's the debt you're paying on an annual basis, whereas the long-term is your future debt payable. I think this slide also highlights the fact that our railway revitalization debenture is a fairly new debt, so it's bigger. We haven't had long to pay it down. This slide shows that we have approximately 40% of our debt limit available. Our debt limit is legislated through the MGA at 1.5 times the municipality's annual revenue. So the blue is our debt and the green is our remaining capacity to borrow.
Amber, just a question on that. Has that changed in the last year or two?
Well, it does change. The limit does change because it's based on our annual revenue. So depending what revenue is annually, it will fluctuate somewhat. But
okay,
as
I'm just asking because I think before it was a larger spread. We actually didn't have a lot of borrowing capacity last year or the year before.
It's possible, and it's just the way that the revenue it is impacted by revenue, so it would fluctuate.
Okay.
And this slide is just compares the revenue and expenses for the town of Crossfield per capita. And it shows that I think as far as our grouping goes, that we're fairly average. And the nice thing about our situation is that our expenses are less than our revenue. So I believe that's a good situation to be in. This slide demonstrates our accumulated surplus. So this is kind of money in the bank and other things that we own. The financial assets are the green. So that's cash, reserves, and receivables. And the blue is the non-financial assets, or the capital assets that we own, like roads, buildings, vehicles, and equipment. Finally, the full-time municipal positions comparison between us and our other 12 like-sized communities shows that the town of Crossfield tends to lag behind the average, with 21 full-time positions reported in the statistical information return versus larger complements of full-time positions in the other communities. So finally, in order to provide a full sort of picture of the current Crossfield budget world environment, administration would like to share some insights on the current economic climate in Alberta. So the bigger economic picture is the Alberta Economic Outlook was published by ATB on September 19th, 2023. Some of the highlights are economic growth, population growth, inflationary pressures, and housing and construction. So as we enter the final stages of 2023, it's evident that Alberta's economy has weathered the inflation storm better than most. Albertans have kept spending and job growth has been brisk, even as interest rates have soared. This resilience shouldn't be entirely surprising. As a major commodity producer, higher prices have boosted incomes in the province, cushioning the impact of inflation even as consumers get squeezed. Nonetheless, we've been surprised, ATB has been surprised by some of the strong readings, particularly consumer spending, employment, and population growth. Moving into 2024, the headwinds will create more drag. There's a lag between higher interest rates and their impact on the economy. More households and businesses will face higher borrowing costs next year. Softer global economic conditions are another headwind. Alberta has emerged from a difficult period, starting with the oil price crash in 2014-15, leading into market access challenges in 2019 and the 2020 pandemic. After moving past 2014 real GDP levels in 2022, the province is now firmly in expansion mode. Population growth. A key driver to ATB's economic growth forecast is population growth. It is expected to hit 4.5% for the census year, effectively matching the previous record of 4.6% in 1981. In people terms, however, no other year comes close. 203,000 expected gain exceeds the previous record in 2013. Growth is coming from all angles: immigration, interprovincial migration, and natural increases. But it is the inflows from other provinces that is driving a 1.4% point wedge between Alberta and the national growth rate. More than 3/4 of inflows from other provinces were from Ontario and BC over the last 4 quarters of data. While Alberta's strong job performance has helped, another major draw is the relatively affordable housing. Inflationary pressures. Progress has been made on Canada's inflation front, from a national peak of 8.1% in June 2022 down to 4% this last August. But getting from there to the 2% target will be more difficult. ATB's higher for longer forecast assumes the bank will hold at 5% until mid-2024. The orange line in this slide indicates Canada's inflation compared to the other countries. Note the trend for Canada, US, UK, and Euro have a very similarly shaped trend line. I just thought it was interesting. There it is. Progress has been made on Canada's inflation front from a national, oh, this is terrible. Anyway, what we see here is housing and construction starts. So what I'd like to highlight is the blue line that indicates Calgary's record-breaking real home sales prices. So that's driving up actually the Alberta average. As you can see, the average is the orange line kind of between Calgary and Edmonton. So what I would also like to highlight from this slide is that Crossfield's proximity to Calgary and our relative affordability for purchasing homes is sure to kind of fuel Crossfield's population growth into the future. So in summary, the economic outlook is uncertain. Continued population growth is almost guaranteed. Sustainable revenue sources is revenue that we have to seek. The town of Crossfield must continue to provide high-level services and doing so to make Crossfield a wonderful and dynamic community that we can call home. So next we will present the proposed 2024 operating budget. Corporate services Lindsay will kick things off with corporate services budget, and I'll be supporting her. Operational services will be presented by Merrill Murray Pollock and Joe Holstein. Sorry, Merrill Jarvis. Community and protective services will be presented by Russ Nash with support from Kevin Brinson and Chief Bill Mesner.
Thank you, Amber.
Hold on, I think I'm starting. Okay. So I'll get you to move on to the operating budget document, the 3-year operating budget plan from 2024 to 2026. Page 4, the operating budget summary shows over the next 4 years, the various department surpluses and deficits kind of broken down through the town. And it shows that in each year, the budget is balanced. The next thing that we have is the operating transfers to reserves. In 2024, we're projecting to transfer $1.077 million into reserves. So how our revenue is split. Property taxes makes up approximately 46% of the town's revenue. Franchise fees are another 8%. Planning and subdivision fees make up about 5% of our revenue. Protective services, that would be revenue generated from calls and fines, makes up approximately 4% of the budget. What's going on here? And community services makes up another 4% of the budget, and that would be user fees, rentals, diamond rentals, stuff like that. And finally, operations and utilities, the majority of that being water utility bills, water, sewer, and solid waste bills, make up 32% of the town's revenue.
Amber, I'm sorry, just on page 4. We have the community peace officer on there. But I think in 2025, our contract ends with RCMP. And that's when we have to start paying for RCMP. Have we accounted for that somewhere in here?
Well, is that the what is it? Police. And
Enhanced officer, yeah.
It's not just for the enhanced officer, it's our portion of
Right.
the provincial fees. I have to double check that. I thought that I'd, if you can just give me 2 seconds here.
Yeah, sure.
Thought that I had incorporated that.
I just didn't see that title. I see planning and community peace officer and fire department, but I didn't see that one in that page.
it is, that is included in requisition
It is, that is
expenses.
correct.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was the same thing, but it's included in our general municipal and requisition department.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss it.
Yeah, it's in there for sure, because it does go up quite a bit
Quite a
in
bit, yeah.
2024.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Sorry for,
No problem. And on page 6, we break down our expenses by service area. Administration, of course, there's a lot of that, the corporate services, the internal stuff, and a lot of salaries. Council comprises a small percentage. Planning and development, approximately 6% of our expense. Protective services makes up about 9%. Community services, 19%, operations, 15%, and utilities, 30%. So that's where all the money is going. So now we'll get into the individual department operating budgets. Oops. And I think I'll take this first. This slide. There's so on page 8, we go into general municipal requisitions. So the requisition is anything that has to be basically collected on behalf of another party, and also included in this department are property taxes. So this year we've budgeted for an amount of residential and non-residential assessment or property tax attributed to growth. So that's not an increase in property taxes, but it's just reflects a larger pie rather than an individual increase. So we have more people contributing starting in 2024 to the property tax base. Otherwise, assumptions were made for school tax increases, and you'll see that the amount of the revenue up top equals the amount of the requisitions in the expense side, because that just flows through us straight to the province. Obviously, the reason why the operating budget isn't finally approved until spring of 2024 is because of those school requisitions and the assessments coming in. So once we know that, then it'll become firm and we can pass the final budget.
So we're going to move on to the council budget. The council budget deals with all costs associated with and incurred by town council, including per diems, fees for meetings and conferences, travel reimbursements, and professional development. And as council sits on a variety of internal and external boards, they are compensated according to the council remuneration policy. So overall, there are no big increases to the council budget for 2024. There was a change to the training and seminars budget due to the increase to the Alberta Municipalities Convention fees and hotel rates, of course, increasing with that. And of course, it's dependent upon the number of councillors that attend each year as well. It fluctuates.
I'm just curious on that one. Would that include both the Alberta municipalities as well as FCM for next year, because FCM is in Calgary?
It isn't, but I will check it.
Yeah.
And then a council retreat has been scheduled for 2024. And then there was, in past budgets, there was a legal line that was moved to administration, to fall under administration. And then in 2025, in the forecast, there will be a municipal election in October of 2025. So of course, those fees have increased for that because there will be review of supplies and computers and all that stuff for council. So The next is administration. And administration budget includes finance, taxation, reception, communication, information technology, human resources, and general administrative costs. So for the revenue side, the sales of goods and services includes tax certificates and compliance, and we have seen a steady increase with the increased growth and sales of houses, and that's of course fluctuating. Miscellaneous revenues, this year we've seen an increase, and that is mainly the FOIP requests, and we've had 7 so far this year. And then the concession and franchise fees, it includes the 17% Fortis Alberta franchise fees and the 20% ATCO franchise fees. The rental of the Irwin House, there is an increase proposed in 2024, as we were looking to increase the rental rate to reflect the cost of inflation. And of course, animal licenses revenue is all dependent upon the number of businesses and animals that are registered throughout the year. For expenses, again, overall increases to the administrative area is for the rate of inflation, including the cost of fuel, utilities, and communications. There was an increase or change under the staff recognition, and it has been increased to include a 20-year and a 10-year service award in 2024, along with the Christmas bonuses for all staff. Training has also.
Can you back Christmas bonuses?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's $100 bonus for the staff that we've given to them for over 10 years. But
okay. Thank you.
Training has been increased, as we do have 2 staff currently taking online courses for payroll compliance professional designation with the National Payroll Institute and the National Advanced Certificate in Local Government Administration Certificate through the U of A. And then with that, the online courses, of course, in turn increase the memberships for these 2 designations as well. Census is a new line for 2024, as administration is proposing to hold a municipal census in 2024. With the increased residential growth and the continued increase in new home construction, the census will assist administration with planning future community services and will help us potentially qualify for additional funding through provincial grants. The budget includes the rental of census equipment, hiring of census takers, and other census supplies. The mail communications, the mail, the postage has increased with postage rates increasing every year, and as well as the increase of with the new homes, there's new post office boxes, more mail for tax notices and things like that. So that had to be adjusted. Professional services has been increased to include an insurance appraisal for all our water assets. And the community computer technology has been split into 3 GLs. The IT contract is to support our yearly contract fees for the contract we currently have with our IT providers. IT software is our yearly licensing fees for each computer, which includes Microsoft Office, Adobe, and yearly programming licenses that we use, such as Hootsuite, SurveyMonkey, Zoom, those types of things that we use on a yearly basis. And the third one was IT hardware, which is for the purchase of the odds and ends of monitors, keyboards, printers, and that. Something new this year is a new GL for flags and banners. This GL combines all the flags for the Community Center, Fire Hall, and Amory Park, as well as a budget for additional banners for Railway Street. Of course, pending pricing, we hope to change out at least a new banner for this year and then change it out. So, and then technology leases is a continuance of the computer replacement program for the town. In 2024, we have a total of 5 computers to be replaced. we will be replacing 4 desktops with laptop docking stations and redistributing the previous CAO's computer to the water department. So we're using that one. And with that, my business case under administration is an e-government services business case. So under this, I'm asking for funding for an eScribe meeting management software and also an e-government module for Muniware, as well as a new website / platform and a scheduling module, which I'll go into. So for that, to improve administrative processes, administration is looking at eScribe meeting management software to improve internal efficiencies and public transparency with meeting management, specifically monthly council meetings. To help improve eScribe meeting management software will help improve administrative processes, and administration is looking at eScribe management to improve internal efficiencies and public transparency. I already said that. The eScribe is a flexible cloud-based Microsoft platform that can be personalized with different modules to create your own custom meeting management solution to assist users before, during, and after a meeting. So with that, we would also cancel the Dropbox license that we currently pay. So that will offset the cost for that as well. And there's different modules that we would be able to use, such as Meeting Manager, which streamlines and automates meeting preparations and post-meeting activities and conducts meetings. The participant portal, which council and any staff attending the meetings can submit their reports through that portal. There is also an internal publishing plus, which we can use through our existing website without programming and fully support evolving digital inclusion requirements. There's also a report manager, which revolves around the preparation and approval of reports and items to submit prior to council meetings. And then there's also the video manager and YouTube streaming option that we use YouTube's platform and their distribution for the to minimize the configuration to live stream it.
Lindsay, if you don't mind,
Yep.
if I can jump in. So I'm familiar with eScribe.
Okay.
It does create some efficiencies, not only for the report writer, but for the approvals from like team leads or managers or the CEO to the report writer, all electronically. So it's not manually emailed and passed around anymore. It just is, it's on a workflow basis. And it's more efficient for Lindsay from the way she does it in Dropbox currently to be able to give council the package. And I think that council will also like how that package is shown on the screen and how we read the package and how we can jump from one spot to another on it. It's maybe a little more efficient than how we're currently
Doing it
more
now.
manually
Yeah.
doing it now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Lindsay.
No, that's okay. And yeah, overall, it would improve current council processes and create efficiencies for all those involved with the meeting processes. In the future, the software could also be used for other boards and committee meetings, such as the Crestwell Recreation Board. The other one option I'm looking at is a customer service support software. So as the town has seen a significant growth, 19.55% between 2016 and 2021 in population and residential development over the past several years. With this increased growth, administration is looking at additional ways to improve service, including communication to residents and businesses. The improved services would include an eGov module for the town's financial software, a new website platform, and a facility booking scheduling module. eGov is a Muniware module that connects residents with their town accounts after creating an online account with their current town tax or utility account number. eGov module is accessed through the town's website, and the current town account holders can view property information such as past and current tax notices, utility bills, dog licenses, and business licenses. Additionally, it gives residents the ability to make online payments on their accounts and renew their business licenses or animal licenses online. The module also gives lawyers, realtors, and registries the ability to create an account to request and generate tax certificates online and pay for the service all at once. It also provides an online database for all dogs registered in the town of Crossfield. Residents registering their pets would have the option to make their phone number available online. So if a lost dog is found, one could simply go to our website, type in the license number or breed, and get connected to the owner's information. So this eGov module would improve efficiencies and allow users the flexibilities to access their accounts and information at any time. Excuse me. The new website platform will be mobile friendly, engaging users. It also has the additional options for residents, such as displaying the weather and air quality information. There's also additional administrative functions that will assist with the maintenance and upkeep of the website. The new website platform would be redesigned to allow more functionality and ease of access to information, including quick links. The difference in pricing between our current website and redesign is $415. This increase is in the cost of growth to provide for increased services. Sorry. And the last thing is the Universe scheduling module. This module would allow customers to create an account online to book a town facility and give customers a consistent experience. Account holders would be able to view their current and past rentals and any associated costs. The module would be available online through the town's website. Currently, administration is considering the module for the community center and the Ball Diamonds, and will slowly expand to other facilities. The town is currently utilizing Universe for program registrations, and feedback from both internal and external users has been very positive. It has been anticipated that having eScribe would improve meeting processes and ensure delivery of the council agenda in a timely manner to both council and the public. The additional increased service options for the eGov module, new website platform, and scheduling module would also bring the town of Crossfield more current with other municipalities with the availability of services with just click of a button. These additional services may also decrease residential inquiries, as such would always be available to them 24 hours a day. Options would be to approve all the eGov services with proposed start date of January 31st, 2024, or approve one or two of the eGov services as recommended by council, or continue without any additional eGov services. And
Thanks,
that's it for
Lindsay.
administration.
That's great. Any questions for Lindsay on that? No questions, but as far as I can see with what you've proposed, it creates a lot of efficiencies and could free up some staff time. So good job.
Thank you. And then I'm doing the economic development, last one. So as a community with rich history and culture, residents and community leaders want the character of the community to come alive in future development so that opportunities reflect the aspirations of its residents for generations to come. Recent planning agreements between the town of Crossfield and Rocky View County have opened up opportunities for industrial growth along the 2A with high visibility from the QE and excuse me. So the only real change we had in here was the addition or the change to the Rural Women in Business Conference. It was reduced in 2024 just to reflect the consideration that the town does for the donation of the hall. So that's been taken into consideration there. And then the addition of the business support for businesses as a result of the proposed action items from discussions at your coffee with the businesses.
So Lindsay, on this one, I'm just curious, for economic development, currently, we're planning on keeping that part-time position the same.
Yes, as of right now, yes.
So I'm just curious as far as economic development, yes, we have 30% industrial or business or industrial and 70% residential. But that seems like a pretty fair number. However, how are we going to be attracting industry and commercial here with without hiring economic developer for that attraction piece?
Through the chair. I had planned to discuss the economic development stuff with Kinza when she comes on board to kind of get her take on or her vision, I guess, on what she would like to see happen in that realm. So being that she'll be here prior to final approval of this, we can take a look at the economic development part and see if there's additions that we can make to that based on her input there.
Okay, good plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Meryl.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Good evening, Council. So the operations budget is focused on public works activities such as road, street, storm, sewer, and sidewalk maintenance. Maintenance activities include plowing, sanding, street sweeping, curb repairs, and infrastructure maintenance. So when we look at the proposed budget for 2024 under revenues, you'll see a decrease in the Canada Summer Jobs Grant of $4,800. We're not anticipating that will be fully funded in that area. Moving on to the operations expenses, there have been some changes. I'm just going to go through some of the bigger ones. You'll see under the operation snow removal services. So we're requesting an increase to accommodate the team when the town-owned machinery fails, as we've seen in 2023, or for when assistance is needed following a snowstorm event. As new subdivisions become the responsibility of the town, the demand for snow removal has been increasing. The next notable item is you'll see a reduction in heavy equipment repairs. That $20,000 reduction is being proposed as equipment has been maintained and serviced regularly. And with the addition of a mechanic or operator, it is anticipated that cost for repair can be in-house rather than outsourced. Patching and paving. Sorry, I'm just going to move back up to construction and maintenance. You'll see that no operational costs have been coded to this GL for this year. However, the department would prefer to keep this budget in line to accommodate unforeseen expenses throughout the year, such as calcium applications on Range Road 12 or Western Drive by the golf course, or any additional sidewalk maintenance that is needed. Patching and paving, we're requesting a slight increase of just over $3,000. This GL has been increased to accommodate for pathway patching and for new roadways, pathways that become a town asset. Moving down, line painting, we've asked for an increase of from $5,000 to $8,500. And this is to accommodate the increasing costs, as well as the addition of crosswalks, roadways that will require annual line painting. And if there's no questions in the budget line, I'd like to, Yes. Thank you. Also, thank you, Amber. If we go back to the top under expenses, you'll see that the salaries have been lowered. And this was to accommodate splitting them up under the appropriate departments. So, staff are just split up like part of my wages under there. And then I'm also distributed under planning and water and wastewater.
Just curious, under your position that you were requesting,
Yes.
you speak that it will be a fraction of the cost, but it doesn't tell council what that cost is. Like, how much are we saving if we have a Red Seal mechanic? How many hours is that? Or how much are we saving in dollars? What does that look like?
It was the 20,000. Yes, so it would be the 20,000. So we've reduced under the heavy equipment repairs, we did a reduction of $20,000.
So we'll be saving $20,000 by hiring a full-time position.
This, so this person would be in addition to our staff envelope. So this person would be in part a heavy duty mechanic and an operator. So currently we have 4 people in the operations department to service the community for snow removal, for instance. And then if there's any equipment failures, it's outsourced to outside mechanics for repair. And we're hoping that having someone with the skill of Red Seal mechanic can do a lot of those repairs in-house.
So, yeah, but it's that still doesn't tell me how much we're saving. Like, are we saving just the $20,000 by having this person, or by having this person, does it offset? It also offset overtime costs?
This will be a savings of $20,000 we're anticipating for repairs.
For the repairs, yeah.
Right, but we're also increasing the salaries to accommodate an additional employee to the department.
That's right.
Yeah.
But does this offset overtime cost to the department too by adding this extra person?
Well, we can definitely take away that calculation. We can do the calculation for the overtime costs and as well as the repair costs. They're there. Okay.
Yeah, I guess what I'm looking for, Meryl, is just a little better justification by using actual dollars and cents,
So
that we can make a good decision.
So if we look at the business case, the wages that we're proposing is $80,000. If we look at, sorry, I thought you said something. If we look at the benefits, training, safety, clothing, cell phone, IT support, that would be the output, but the contracted mechanic cost savings would be $20,000. But if council would like, we can go back and we can provide council with what the costing has been to date for any repairs for equipment. Although heavy equipment repairs is currently sitting at 64,000.
Through the chair. If I could just maybe add just a little bit too, it would also benefit the Parks Department as far as repairs of that equipment as well, not just operations. So I just wanted to make note of that as well.
Is council looking for a monetary value?
I think that because we're talking about budget, we should be talking a little bit, when you justify positions, we should be talking about a monetary value and savings. And or savings on overtime or that type of thing that equals a monetary value, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we can definitely look at the overtime savings for the current year, although it has been quite low because we worked very hard to keep the overtime hours to a minimum. Yeah, we can bring back some more information for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Meryl.
So did you want me to go through the business case or do you want me to hold off for?
No, you can go through the business case.
You want me to go through it?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the town fleet ages, it is becoming increasingly important in this time of fiscal restraint to ensure our fleet remains in good working shape. Okay. Operations is requesting an addition to their team to include a Red Seal mechanic. This would allow our operations to keep on top of our fleet issues, maintenance, troubleshooting, and repairs at a fraction of the cost, and instead of using outside vendors to complete our work. Further to this, it would be preferred that the suitable candidate have a minimum class 3 and some experience in operating large equipment. This would enable us to utilize this person during winter months and during holiday times to keep our operations running smoothly. Currently, operations staff works to troubleshoot as efficiently as possible and repair where they can. Local shops are used to carry out repairs that are beyond their capability. For some of our specialty equipment, such as the snow blower, operation relies on a service company from Edmonton who specializes in the equipment that needs servicing. When repairs are needed, there is a cost factor, including shop time and travel costs when we use outside resources. Aside from having a heavy-duty mechanic, operations would also utilize this position to fill a shortage of manpower when required. The ability to draw on this position to assist with snow removal and holiday time will ensure that service to the community goes unaltered. The last 6 years has seen an increase of development by way of subdivision and resulting in new home construction in the community. 2023 is near 2020 permit levels at the end of August 2023, being 29 home construction permits. Town of Crossville population growth statistics, last available census date 2021. You'll see that our population, the annual growth for 2021 was 6.57%. With the increase of new residential development and population, we are seeing more of a demand in overall maintenance of the town in areas requiring snow removal and street sweeping. The benefits of a heavy-duty mechanic on site to troubleshoot and, in a majority of cases, repair equipment to ensure timely return to full operation. The ability to utilize this employee as an operator to our equipment when necessary, and an additional operator will support the department in minimizing service delivery delays. If not implemented, service levels will remain a status quo with possible delays should equipment fail or staff be unavailable due to illness or vacation. Additionally, contract services would increase as the department would have to rely on outside services for equipment and servicing. Strategic plan alignment under town infrastructure to support the town's growth through the effective planning and implementation of town infrastructure. The additional employee will assist with succession planning within the operations department. The additional employee will provide an opportunity to maintain the fleet, keep it operating, avoiding delays in service delivery, and provide an additional employee to meet the town's growing needs. So the town of Cardston sponsored a compensation survey in spring of 2023, and you'll see that we took the compensation data that was reflected of this job description from that compensation survey.
Sorry, from Cardston?
Yeah.
Any other comparables?
Within the compensation survey, like-sized communities were surveyed: Cardston, Colehurst, Claresholm, Crossville, Diamond Valley, Fort McLeod, Hannah, McGrath, Nanton, Penhold, Picture Butte, etc.
Yeah, and they were all similar.
They're all similar, yes. Yeah, so the data that we provided you was for the survey position title of a fleet mechanic, and 75% had a similar percentage of compensation. All right. Yeah. Moving on to water. Let me just see here. If we're going right directly into the water expenses, repairs and maintenance, you'll see that we have dropped it down to 9,600. Or sorry, 96,000. Although 2023 didn't see many repairs, we would like to keep the budget for anticipating 8 to 10 repairs. This budget line allows for water line repair, sidewalk, roadway, and yard remediation when needed. Computer technology is a new budget line. This will allow for our annual Neptune licensing and FlowPoint Flow Point is our bulk water program licensing. They're included with this budget. Purchase bulk water. So this is from the Mountain View Regional Water Services Commission. You'll see that we increased it by 59,000, as this was the difference from 2022 to 2023. Water meters repairs and maintenance has been reduced from 25,000 from last year to 3,000 this year. This is because we have moved this to an annual capital expense for water meters because they are an asset to the town. Chemicals we've increased, and this is a slight increase to accommodate the rise in costs that we're seeing. You'll also see rail spur expense. This is a new budget line. This is an in and out. This is the 99-year agreement that's in place between a business and Plastifab, and we facilitate the payment transfer. Okay. Okay, no worries. For wastewater. Under the expenses, the professional services, we have rounded up to 25,000. This does allow for Joe to consult with engineering on any water sewer line issues that we face throughout the year. The biggest change you'll see is under repairs and maintenance. We are requesting an increase of 96,000. Currently, we are over budget in this area by $30,000 as of October. 2023 saw 3 sewer line repairs and include sewer main repair as well as asphalt, sidewalk, and yard remediation. We are requesting the increase to accommodate for potential sewer line breaks and repairs, and it's also in line with water repairs and maintenance. Chemicals, lagoon and testing, that has also seen an increase. With the addition of lagoon testing needed for the 60-day cell, we are requesting an increase to accommodate the additional costs. Rental, under revenue rental of lagoon land, we're not really seeing much change. And sales of service, that's an estimate.
But it's based on the 75% or 95% of the water revenue per the fees and rates or fees and charges bylaw.
Okay, under solid waste, the town of Crossfield contracts solid waste and curbside recycling pickup services to a third-party contractor. The town also contracts the municipal transfer site, which accepts household waste, recycling, and other materials such as used engine oil, automotive batteries, metal, electronics, appliances, and organic compost. Under revenue, you'll see that the $20,000 that is a contribution of Rocky View County, that remains the same. Recycling revenue is relatively the same. Curbside recycling, we're seeing an increase. So this would accommodate the new residential dwellings as well as the garbage revenue that we're seeing a slight increase. With residential garbage pickup under expenses, we see a slight increase. The 2024 rate increase as per the agreement of $5.02 per household and $84 per ton for tipping charges. The average is $14,000 per month. The transfer site, we see a slight increase as well. Its increase is based on additional tonnage. The rate remains the same as per the agreement of $12,390 a month. Garbage and recycling bins. This was a line that was under this budget before, but it was moved and listed under capital as an annual expenditure. Planning and subdivision. The planning function provides development services to the municipality. Any new development will need to conform to the town's land use bylaw and other planning documents such as the municipal development plan, downtown and entrance area redevelopment plan, and the Rocky View Crossfield intermunicipal development plan. Planning advice and services are contracted through a third-party provider. Building code, gas and plumbing, electrical inspections are currently provided through a third-party contractor. So under revenue, we're excited to announce that 2023 was a record-breaking year in intaking building permit fees. You'll see that as at October 5th, we have taken in $236,769. Under planning and subdivision expenses, you'll see that professional services urban, the 2023 budget was $60,000. We are requesting council to have that budget remain as $60,000 for the 2024 year. It will be lowered moving forward depending on the qualifications of the new position for the development department, whether it's a development officer or someone with a planning designation. Professional legal, we have asked to increase as we have used legal counsel throughout 2023 for development and other planning matters. These fees have been reflected under the admin GL in the past. And the contracted building inspection, you'll see a slight increase. The increase is to accommodate the additional residential construction. So averaging 70 homes a year, and it's a 9% increase from year to year.
Chair,
Go ahead, Councillor Knight.
Marilyn, what's the PLN communication that we're adding there? It's always $600. Just wonder what it was.
Communications. So that's like advertisements.
Okay. just
Sorry, I
something.
didn't catch that.
No, that's
Sorry.
all. Just knew that's all.
Any other questions for Meryl? So under you're only asking for one position?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious because you talked about a different position, but is that a next year ask?
A different position.
You're just asking for the red seal under your portfolio?
Well, we're asking for this position to be a combination. So red seal operator. So
That's right.
they would
Yeah.
be, yes.
But not, you're not asking for like a planner or?
No, because that falls under the 2023 budget. We accounted for it, but we were waiting to
right.
hire that position until the new CAO.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I just wanted clarification on that. Thanks,
Yeah, no
Meryl.
problem. And
Yeah.
we will bring back some more details on the monetary savings for this position.
Yeah.
We can definitely do that. We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. Excellent. So I guess Russ is in the hot seat next.
All right, thank you, Mayor Harris. So we'll move on to Community Peace Officer. So the Community Peace Officer budget includes bylaw control activities and traffic enforcement. There isn't a lot of significant changes in this budget. A couple highlights. We would like to hire a summer bylaw officer again in 2024. So we'd like to keep that in there if possible. We've got a slight increase to technology and report management. This is to account for the annual software licenses and whatnot for the GPS. And we also have a slight increase in vehicle repairs and maintenance, and that's to account for purchasing new summer tires for the patrol unit. So that's that one. Moving on to fire. The fire department provides firefighting and first responder services to the town of Crossfield residents and visitors and to regional partners through agreements. Some highlights of changes within these budgets here. I guess not necessarily changes, but we do expect revenues are to remain consistent for 2024. The regional fire services agreement with Rocky View County is set to expire on December 31st, 2024. So administration will be working on renegotiating that agreement throughout the year. We do have an increase in the training budget to implement required training plans that we want to put in place, such as NFPA 1001 courses, providing training to members to be in-house trainers. So we don't have to go outside of the department to do a lot of the training, driver's training and those sorts of things. Communications 911 dispatch. We have just moved this GL out of emergency management and into fire to better reflect where that service is needed. Contracted services was reduced as we will not require the services from Seahawk. However, we did keep some funds in there in order to help pay for other contracted services the fire department might need, including mutual aid if we require billable assistance within town from our partners. We would like to add a budget for fire prevention and education. This will allow for purchase of materials and supplies to increase educational initiatives related to fire prevention. We've added a budget for technology and report management to account for annual report management software costs. These were traditionally placed within, I believe it was office and building supplies. So just to better account for those. We've got an increase to vehicle repairs, maintenance and fuel. This is to account for increases to fuel costs as well as increased maintenance and repairs to the fleet as it ages. We also have an increase to equipment supplies. This is to implement a fire gear replacement program. So you'll see that's bumped up to $20,000. The fire department would like to implement a fire gear replacement program, which would allow a replacement of 4 to 5 sets of gear per year, just to ensure that we're staying on top of expiring gear. We would also like to increase the training grounds budget slightly to allow for some improvements to the training facilities to keep them safe and usable until larger improvements can be made in future years. And there is also an increase to contribution to reserves just to allow for future equipment upgrades and replacements that are going to be needed down the road.
I have a question for you, Russ, on fire.
Sure.
Under the honorariums.
Yep.
I'm just curious. I don't know how many hours that is, but we seem to, it's hit and miss for daytime. Volunteers to be here. Would there be any benefit or the same cost if we actually hired some part-time firefighters instead of went on an honorarium basis? I'm just curious.
So you're meaning like if we had some part-time firefighters that would be at the hall during the day as a kind of a part-time employee of the town?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know how much anybody makes a month or whatever that looks like, but I mean, would that be enough would it be equal to handing out honorariums, but be more consistent if we had part-time firefighters?
I suspect it would probably cost us more. But I might, Bill may have.
We don't need
little
the answer
more
today,
input
but
into
I'm
that.
just curious as to what that could look like.
I
or
will
if it would be feasible to look into.
Sure, and I will say too that we are planning on taking a look at how this is all, how it's all organized, I guess, and I mean, like the day shifts and on calls and
Yeah.
all those sorts of things, just to see if there's efficiencies that can be made there. And it's one thing that we can look at that as an option and put it in as a potential way to go. I don't know
I
if
would
Bill
just
has
have a
any
look
other-
at it, see if there's any efficiencies there. Like, is that going to be better service or more efficient for us or not?
I would say you're probably going to have a more efficient service. I would think, because you'd have somebody there all the time,
Yeah.
or part of the time, I guess you could say. But we can take that back and look at it for future Are you looking for that in this budget, or are you looking for us to kind of research that and maybe,
I think
As our-
that it's just worth researching.
okay. We'll definitely take that back.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Knight.
Russ, do we forecast the revenue to get to the budget, do you think? Like we're 105 right now, it's 35,000, that's a third of it. Are we gonna be close to that, you think?
Bill?
Through the chair, if I may. It's very dependent, of course, upon what comes our way. If I might be able to provide somewhat of an example of the last 2 days, we've done a total of 15 calls, most of them being highway accidents, which we gain revenue through the Alberta Transportation. If this does continue throughout until the end of this year, we will be close.
Okay, well, thanks.
Okay.
Curious.
And I guess maybe just to expand a little bit on that particular revenue. We've kept it the same because we've kind of looked at historical numbers, and we're typically in that range. 2022 was an anomaly. We had a lot of revenue because we had some fairly significant calls that we went on just that we were able to charge for, but typically that $140,000 mark we're in that range. Any other questions regarding fire? No? Okay. I will move on to emergency management. So emergency management is a function of administration with a limited budget required except in the case of an event. There is an overall decrease to you'll see in salaries, and that's just to kind of account for distribution of wages. It's not that there's not less time being, it's just an allocation of wages. So, and then as I noted before in fire, communications 911 dispatch was removed out of this budget, put into fire because that's where it's needed, not in emergency management. So so no significant changes there. Health and safety, again, there's no significant changes there. Family and community support services. So FCSS is an 80-20 funding partnership between the government of Alberta and the municipality. FCSS designs and delivers social programs that are preventative in nature to promote and enhance well-being among individuals, families, and communities. The FCSS program receives its mandate from the FCSS Act and regulations. However, the FCSS board, which in our case is Town Council, determines the priority of programs to be offered within the community. The programs developed are intended to help individuals within their communities to adopt healthy lifestyles, thereby improving their quality of life and building capacity to prevent and or deal with crisis. And just to add on a little bit more to that, if council recalls, we also did my mind just went blank. So thank you, Amber. Social needs assessment, right around the same time that we did the Parks and Recreation needs assessment. So we have been trying to address some of the items that were included within that assessment to try and hit different demographics within town. We do have a slight increase in the grant that's provided from the province. So you'll see that there. On the expense side, I don't know if you recall in past budgets, but we had a long list of the different groups that we funded. We've grouped them all into one GL called external funded programming. This just makes it simpler on our end to allocate or to budget those. Administration will present a list of recommended funding to council that will come out of this budget line. And that's currently set right now to take place at the first council meeting in December. So after the budget's approved, it makes sense. Then we come in and say, this is where we plan to spend or recommend to spend the funds from that budget. And just another note here, we have seen success in most of our new social programming that we've done internally. And we would like to continue with that moving forward. There's no questions there. Can move on to cemetery. So the cemetery is owned and operated by the town of Crossfield. The maintenance is provided by operations and park staff. In 2012, the cemetery was expanded to ensure a supply of cemetery plots for years to come. A new columbarium was installed in 2023 to ensure a supply of cremains plots for years to come. So the revenues were adjusted to better reflect the current situation. So some of them are lower. And then salaries, you'll notice, have increased, and that's again just a distribution of wages. We've moved operations and parks, including our summer students, some of their wages within that GL to reflect the work that's done out there. So in saying that, those corresponding GLs in the other areas were reduced to just to move those over there. Community services is next.
Just
Oh,
to
sure.
the chair, just, how recently have we checked our costs against other cemeteries?
Through the chair, I believe that was done just last year or the
Think-
beginning of,
Mhm.
we just did them when we did the last fees and rates file update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, I was just wondering, it just seems like a lot of money to be losing.
Because we just readjusted.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Our fees.
And the green burials don't seem to be jumping off the page. No.
no. No, I believe we are one of the lowest areas in our area for plot purchases.
Mhm.
So we are, I know we did increase them the last fees and rates file update.
Mm.
So,
That's because we are a healthy
yes.
community.
Yes. But what we have is
With the
people
donut.
outside of the town purchasing them.
Thank you.
So moving on to community services, the community services department offers a wide range of services and programs to the residents of Crossfield and area. The focus is on providing efficient, responsive, and innovative community-based services. Excuse me. That promote healthy and safe neighborhoods and meet the community's diverse cultural, recreational, and informational needs. Not a whole lot of changes in here. You will see that in the revenue side, we don't have anything listed for Crossfield Wellness Network or rural mental health. That's because they haven't sought out additional grants recently. If they do get them, perfect. We can assist them in that. Typically in those ones, or not typically, for these specific ones, we've acted as the fiscal agent for them. They have to follow all of our accounting requirements when submitting invoices and whatnot. So that's why those aren't showing any revenues. And then just on the expense side, there is an increase to the handy bus, Airdrie bus budget. 2024 rate will be $10.70 per capita, which was previously approved. And we just took the population estimate for 2022 from the government of Alberta, which was 3,674, and added a 3.26% population increase, which is also that was pulled from the Alberta government website. So it gives us a population of, thought I put this in my notes and clearly I didn't. So I believe it's 37 and change, somewhere around 3720 as an estimated population. Recreation, the town of Crossfield offers several sports and recreation options, while the town holds yearly special events and programs. Organizations within Crossfield also have lots to offer. Within this area, the rental of the golf course was moved into recreation revenue from a different location. I'm not sure where that was before, Amber.
Through the chair, it was in administration.
We also have an increase to grants and donations in the revenue side. This shows the annual operating amount of $30,000 that we received from Rocky View County through the recreation. I'm sorry, I forget the name of the agreement. We have an agreement in place. This money, along with $30,000 from the town, is allocated to the Recreation Board to be funded to local community groups for recreation-based initiatives. Previously, the Recreation Board had a separate bank account and had separate accounting, so this money did not show in our books. However, starting in 2024, all of the accounting will be moved under the town. So our budgets will reflect this change, which will save money in eliminating software licensing for an additional accounting program and no longer having to pay for a separate audit of the Recreation Board accounts. And just to give some historical background on that, the Recreation Board was originally put in place with the Rocky View County. And so it had to have separate accounts and all that stuff. But now Rocky View County has stepped away from the recreation boards. So it now just falls under the town of Crossfield. So it just makes sense to put it all under our accounting. We have applied for the New Horizons for Seniors grant again for 2024. Currently in 2023, this grant, we do have this grant in place, and it helps us fund the seniors programs and initiatives that we've been running. We added a GL for memberships, and this is to account for Recreation Association memberships that we have. Currently, we have a membership with ARPA, which is the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association. The amount for this GL was reduced from the community events and programming budget, which is where it was previously coded to. We've also added a budget for the booking software that was previously mentioned in Lindsay's business case that we use for recreation program registration. So we've added that as a separate GL. And again, that used to be coded to community events and programming budget. So we've reduced that budget to create that new GL. Summer rec events budget was reduced to better reflect current costs while still providing room to grow the programming. And you'll also see an increase of $30,000 to transfers to the Recreation Board. And that is also, that's just a reflection of the monies that go to the Recreation Board. So again, $30,000 from Rocky View County, $30,000 from the town of Crossfield. So that's recreation.
Just a question for you. How many years have we been getting 30,000 from Rocky View?
I want to say, just to guess off the top of my head, would be 8, roughly 8 to 10.
And is there any discussions to have that increased at all?
Currently, I believe we'll be into year 2 of a 5-year agreement with them. So when we move into negotiating for the next one, that's when we'll look for increases there. And I should note that that amount does not prevent us from going back to the county to get assistance in other capital projects.
That's right.
So we do have that opportunity as well. Okay, moving on to parks and facilities. So there are quite a few changes in this one. So 2023 was the second year for this department being moved out of operations and on its own. As we continue to grow the department, some additional budgeting requirements have been discovered. Under revenue, this has been discussed before, but for the 314 pure and community investment, that was removed due to uncertainty with what's going on with that company at the moment. Revenue from the grant CSJ, Canada Summer Jobs, that was reduced to better reflect historical approvals. In 2023, we didn't receive approval until later in the year, and we were only approved for a few positions. So in 2024, we're hoping to receive what we traditionally have been getting. I do have a business case, but if it's okay with council, I'll maybe just speak to that after I go through the changes in the GLs. Is that
That's good.
okay? You will see some increases in some of the budgets, including salaries, payroll deductions, safety clothing, cell phones, and that's to account for adding another parks position, as well as to account for some overlap when Kimber returns from her maternity leave. There is a net increase to salaries and payroll deductions, despite moving some of that salary to the cemetery. That's again as a result of hopefully adding a new parks position. Same thing, decrease to seasonal summer wages and summer student payroll deductions. And again, that reflects moving a percentage of their wages to cemetery maintenance. There is a new GL for adding or addition of the booking software that was mentioned in Lindsay's business case. And that's to add the module for booking ball diamonds. There is an increase to the leased equipment budget. So the leases on our mowers and RTVs, which are utility vehicles, are up in May 2024, following a 3-year term. So administration sought quotes from 3 different companies and found that Kubota provides the most economical solution. We have also been running Kubota equipment for several years now and are very familiar with it and have not had any real significant issues with that equipment. Currently, our leased equipment consists of the following at a cost of $2,643.25 per month. That's not including GST, for $31,719 annually. So we have 1 zero-turn mower with a 60-inch mowing deck. We have 3 zero-turn mowers with 72-inch mowing deck, and then 2 RTV utility vehicles with snow plows on each of those. So to provide the same equipment on a new 3-year lease, we are now looking at a cost of annually of $37,733. So just through inflation, and those machines have gone up about $6,000 a year. However, in reviewing our operations and available options, administration would like to propose a different lineup of equipment for the new lease, which would be 3 zero-turn mowers with the 72-inch mowing deck, as well as the 2 RTV utility vehicles with snowplow blades. But instead of having the zero-turn mower with the 60-inch mowing deck, we would like to move forward with a front mount mower tractor that has a 60-inch mowing deck, a cab, and additional snow clearing attachments. So a rotary broom, a snow blower, and a blade. The reason for this is this unit will provide more versatility by being usable year round. In the summertime, it would be a mower that can still get into the tighter spots that the zero-turn mower with the smaller mowing deck is able to. It can then be switched over for winter with the broom, snow blower, and blade. This machine will be more agile than what we're currently using, but yet powerful enough to move snow along our pathways, get into the tighter spots along sidewalks and some of our pathways, which saves potential damage to sod, pavement, and concrete, and can be used to clear snow off of the outdoor rink in Amory Park, saving large amounts of time and potential injury with that particular job. Because currently it is done with mostly done with a walk behind snow blower and shovels, because our current equipment isn't maneuverable enough to do that job. So the cost on a 3-year lease for that option is $37.79 a month, or $45,347 annually. So it is a difference of roughly $7,500 over the year. And of note, this option actually has the lowest annual interest rate of the options we considered, coming in at 0.39%. So that's the option we would like to move forward with, just to provide more versatility and also provide a piece of equipment that can be used year round, as opposed to parking one of them. So we can also look at seeing what the cost is to purchase the current snowplow blades that we have for the RTVs. They're still in good condition, so as opposed to returning them with the other leased equipment because they are part of that package. It would help lower the monthly cost a little bit. Roughly, it would be about roughly $1,500 to $2,000 to purchase those existing blades at a 50% residual value, but we would have to confirm that with Kubota. The other option that we've got is to buy out the current leased equipment. The cost of that, the residual value on that is $72,633. If we did move forward with that, we would have to adjust our capital budget requests for that option. We'd also have to consider perpetual maintenance of those units as they age. So the $49,000 that's proposed in this operating budget also would potentially allow us to sorry, I lost my spot. Oh yes, we would like to also look at leasing an additional truck for the summer months when we have all of our summer students here. Because we do experience a vehicle shortage during those months with all the students and employees that we have in the Parks Department. It would, if approved, it would also help us with the additional full-time parks position. A good amount of time is spent each day during May, June, July, and August, trying to move everyone around and coordinate all that to the various jobs that need to be completed. So if there are enough funds remaining in this budget, and if it is approved, we would like to also proceed with that option. I know that's a lot of information. I apologize for that. Just wanted to give you an idea of what we're thinking about.
To the chair.
Go ahead, Councilor Knight.
Now that we're looking at hiring a mechanic for us, can you give council a 3 and 5 year ROI of buying that gear versus leasing it? So we can physically see it over 5 years on the assumption what we're going to buy it for, what it would cost the town. So show us the lease over 3 years, lease over 5 years, and the purchase. That makes sense. Because I know we've been leasing typically in the past with not having a mechanic, but if we can start leveraging some additional gear and it might cost more capital this year, but if it saves us operational the next 2 years, it might make more sense.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So purchasing new equipment?
Yeah, like you got the budget for all the new mowers and stuff like that. If
Yeah.
we bought the mowers back out, that would cost us.
For that 72,000, right?
Yeah.
Buying out the
Yeah.
existing ones?
Yeah, buy the existing ones for 72,000.
Okay.
And what with the maintenance on that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then put a maintenance number on it with the mechanic that we have, whatever. Put in the factor, I'm
Okay.
just curious to see what it looks like.
Okay, we can do that.
Thanks.
Okay. Is there any other questions on the leases before I carry on? Okay, so, you'll see that we also have asked for a new GL for aggregates. This budget would allow for purchase of gravels, soils, shale, etc. So for example, pea gravel for playground surfacing, shale for ball diamonds and the running track, sand and topsoil for top dressing sports fields and that sort of thing. And directly below that, we also have a request for an additional ball diamond supplies budget to allow for a rental of equipment, fertilizer, grass seeds, other supplies to help implement a sports field and maintenance program. We've also asked for an additional GL for railway street maintenance to account for maintenance items specific to Railway Street. So for example, replacement of mulch, replacement of shrubs and perennials, maintenance tools used on Railway Street vegetation. So for example, we do have different trimmers and those sorts of things, and repairing potential damage to planters or other amenities that are on that street. We have asked for an increase to the equipment maintenance budget, again, accounting for flat tires, unforeseen repairs, mower blades. And if we do have a a mechanic on board, then potentially we wouldn't need as big a budget for that. We also pulled Splash Park power out of the Splash Park maintenance budget to better account for that utility. And we have also asked for an addition of a playground repair and maintenance budget to allow for repairs specifically to playground equipment, which can be costly. So an example, for a new baby swing seat, it costs about $1,800 just for the seat. So
Kevin get stuck in there again?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
asking.
And then we do have a reduction in the contributions to reserves, and that reflects the loss of the 314 Piers community investment money. So
Mhm.
I don't know if Kevin, if you had anything that you wanted to maybe add to the leasing or anything like that in the equipment stuff.
No, I think you covered it pretty good. There is the addition of that front mount mower would definitely make an end result better as far as what we're looking for. As of today, I got to utilize the RTV, and getting into some of the places today was very, very scary. And liability wise, that would benefit definitely benefit the park department. And with the fact that it's a year-round usage, I think that would be a good as well.
Right. If there isn't any other questions or on parks.
Nothing there. Just if you just want to go over that position.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yes.
I
so-
try though, Russ.
Yeah. So yes, so this is a business case for an additional parks and facilities operator 2. So you can see the cost breakdown at the top of the page there. We are looking to try and have a start date in January of 2024 or as early as possible. The town of Crossfield has experienced significant growth over the past several years, both in population and developed land. Resulting in an increased need to provide services and maintenance of manicured land. According to Statistics Canada, Crossfield's population in 2016 was 2,983, while in 2021, which was the last available census data, it had increased to 3,599, an increase of 616 people or 20.7% over that 5-year period. Further, the government of Alberta indicates the population of Crossfield increased from 3,240 in 2018 to 3,674 in 2022, a 17% increase over the last 5 years, making it the 10th fastest growing municipality in Alberta. Currently, the town of Crossfield has approximately 120 acres of manicured land, which includes parks, pathways, green spaces, ditches along the 2A, the cemetery, and around sewage lagoons. Within the next 2 to 3 years, the town will be inheriting approximately 15 to 20 additional acres from new developments. If the current trend continues with residential development, the town will be set to continue adding similar amounts of manicured acres for the foreseeable future. These manicured acres require everything from turf maintenance, sports field and court maintenance, weed and pest control, pathway maintenance, playground and park amenity maintenance, garbage removal, tree, shrub, flower maintenance, splash park and skate park maintenance, hedge trimming, etc. In addition, over the last 2 years, the Parks Department has also been tasked with the following. Railway street maintenance. The revitalization of this street has drastically increased the amount of time our parks employees are required to spend maintaining the grass, shrubs, plants, and flowers through the spring, summer, and fall. Through the spring and summer months, which is May to August, regular maintenance requires approximately 42 hours per week, which includes mowing, trimming, water, bed, tree, shrub, flower maintenance, and other repairs. In addition, the months of March and April require preparation for the summer, while September and October are spent preparing for winter. Currently, these jobs are completed by the Parks and Facilities Supervisor on their own. And then we have facility maintenance. So the community hall, library, and vacant building, or which currently is the old library, maintenance has been added to the Parks Department's portfolio. This includes regular building checks, repairs, scheduling, regular maintenance with contractors, tending to general current concerns, etc. Currently, the Parks Department has one year-round employee who receives assistance from mid-spring to the end of August from a shared employee along with seasonal staff. The breakdown of staffing for this department is as follows. Parks and Facilities Supervisor, which is the only dedicated employee in the Parks Department. The Arena and Parks Operator 2, who works at the arena from the beginning of September to the end of March or mid-April, and then moves over to Parks until the end of August. And then we have seasonal parks laborers. We hire up to 8 seasonal staff to work from the beginning of May to the end of August. So as can be seen, the Parks Department is left with little support during the fall, winter, and first half of spring. While a great amount of work and tasks are still required during these times. This includes preparation of shrubs and plants along Railway Street for winter and summer, shutdown and startup of the splash park, ball diamond maintenance, turf maintenance throughout town, clearing of snow and ice from pathways, ice making and maintenance of the outdoor arena, repairs and maintenance on equipment and vehicles, etc. In addition to the large workload, there is also a safety concern with working alone. This can be mitigated with various procedures and policies. However, there's also a concern with overexertion, which can lead to increased musculoskeletal injuries. In turn, these injuries can result in increased WCB costs if employees require treatment or time off due to injuries sustained at work. So the business need. One of the items that attracts people to a community is the recreational opportunities available, including access to parks, playgrounds, sports fields, sport courts, recreation facilities, cultural facilities, etc. The results of the 2022 Parks and Recreation Needs Assessment supports this, as 80% of respondents agreed that recreation, parks, and culture opportunities are important to their quality of life. Highlights of the community's desire for recreational opportunities, both in improving existing facilities as well as introducing new facilities, included expanding and enhancing pathways, upgrading parks, upgrading baseball diamonds, expanding and enhancing the skate park and splash park, upgrading the dog park, and installing a pump BMX track, among many others. All of these facilities and amenities require a significant amount of maintenance to keep them in good, safe, and usable condition. In addition to regular maintenance, there is also the requirement to continually make improvements and upgrades over time. With the current staffing levels in the Parks Department, it's becoming more and more difficult to simply maintain the existing parks, green spaces, and recreational facilities, especially during the 8 months of the year when there is only one permanent staff available to perform the work. There's little time after the maintenance is complete to plan for or implement improvements. As more parks, green space, pathways, and recreational amenities are added to the town's inventory, we will unfortunately come to a time where we begin to fall behind on required regular maintenance with little ability to make improvements. To address the current need and begin to plan for future growth, the Community and Protective Services Group would like to add an additional full-time Parks and Facilities Operator 2. This will allow us to improve on current service levels and begin making much needed improvements to our existing facilities. It will also enable us to prepare for the future addition of manicured lands. In addition to daily maintenance activities throughout the year, this position will help us in other important areas, including employee safety, weed inspection and control, assist with planning facility improvements and upgrades, ensuring sports fields are kept to a high standard and safe for all users, acting as a certified playground inspector, maintaining service levels for snow and ice clearing on pathways and sidewalks, and providing greater customer service to residents regarding their questions and concerns. So the options we've identified here are: 1, to hire a Parks and Facilities Operator 2 in early 2024. Or 2, do not hire a Parks and Facilities Operator 2 and adjust the budget for seasonal wages to allow for seasonal help during the fall, winter, and spring. This would require approximately $27,506 in additional wages, which includes 4% vacation pay, plus employer-related costs. This would alleviate some of the maintenance duties. However, it would be a temporary and inconsistent solution, as it can be difficult to hire people on a seasonal or temporary basis, especially during the winter and shoulder months. They also require more supervision and guidance than a full-time employee. And option number 3 would be to continue with the current staffing structure without a Parks and Facilities Operator 2 or additional seasonal help. Impact if not implemented. Service levels may begin to decline as the work required will have to be prioritized, especially as the number of manicured lands and recreational facilities or amenities increase with growth of the community. It will be difficult to strive for continual improvements and upgrades as most of the staff time will be spent trying to keep up with the regular maintenance requirements. This could lead to deteriorating facilities, which in turn could result in public safety concerns as well as a lost opportunity to attract new residents to town. In addition, the safety of our staff is also a priority with concerns over working alone and or overexertion. And this does align with the strategic plan. Priority number 3, parks, recreation, and beautification to ensure that the town of Crossfield contributes to the environmental health of the community through the provision, preservation, and improvement of parks, open spaces, and recreation opportunities, as well as the beautification of public spaces.
Thanks, Russ. And also thanks for aligning that with the strategic plan. I like that. Just a question for you. You talked about how many new acres we're going to be getting in the next 2 to 3 years. By hiring this person in 2 to 3 years, is there going to be a need to hire somebody else, or will this person be able to, kind of maintain and hold the line for a couple of years?
I would estimate that this person would be able to help us hold the line for probably that foreseeable time, 3 to 5 years, maybe. Kevin may be able to speak a little bit more to that.
About 5 years, depending on the rapid growth. If you continue with the rapid growth, then yeah, 5 years.
Yep.
You'd have to relook at distributing the job, I guess, or the priorities.
Okay. And then I think too, just like Meryl, if you were to kind of paint that picture for us, if we didn't get that person, like how much time would that be in overtime, and just kind of equate it that way in the same way so that we have like a dollar amount or an hourly amount just to compare it to.
As far as overtime goes?
Well, if you don't get a position, then either it doesn't get done or you're going to pay somebody to do overtime. What would that look like? Just to be consistent with how we ask for positions. Okay. Aside from that, I think that the justification pieces were really well done.
Thank you. I just one thought just kind of came into my head here. Just if we didn't get it, would overtime increase? And I would say that I don't think there's enough of one person to go around to add in overtime.
That's what we need to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just becoming so much work that needs to be done. It just wouldn't get done.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Russ? Thanks, Russ.
Sure. Kevin, did
No,
you have?
that's
no?
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't worry, Kevin. Come next time because I'm going to have some hard questions for you.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on to the arena here. So, so under the revenue GLs, most of those GLs have been increased to reflect the current revenues from the arena. So you'll see that an increase in revenue there. There is a slight proposed increase to clothing and uniforms, and that is to allow for purchase of some clothing for seasonal staff to help with identification. So to have shirts or jackets that say staff on them. And then there's some general increases to utilities such as heating and power to reflect inflation. I will note that with the new plant, we may see a slight decrease in electricity consumption, but we will monitor that after we have a full season of operations. So that's the arena. There wasn't a lot of changes to that one. The community center, we did have a kind of a reduction overall in revenues to, again, to reflect this current state. We have seen rentals to start to come back following COVID, but they haven't fully recovered yet. So we just kind of wanted to be realistic of what that reality looks like. We have seen a decrease in the out of town rentals. And this is likely as a result of the stricter rental rules and higher damage deposits that we've implemented for out of town rentals, which was expected. There is an increase. You'll see an increase to salaries and payroll deductions. Again, that reflects the addition of a new parks and facilities operator because they would be responsible for some of the maintenance and stuff in this building. As was mentioned previously, we do also have a GL to add a booking software budget. Again, that's to help or to potentially purchase a module for booking. That's kind of the big changes in the hall. Again, not a lot of big changes in that one. And then our last one is the library. And really, so we do have a 3% increase to transfer to the library board. And that is keeping with what has been done in the past. It's been 3% increases. So that's, we kept that in there for now. And then there is a slight increase to the Marigold requisition budget to account for the 2024 municipal levy in the current agreement, which is $6.46 per person. The amount budgeted reflects a 3.26% increase. There's where I had the number. I forgot to add it to the other one. So anyway, so I used Government of Alberta numbers. So their 2022 population estimate was 3,674 plus the 3.26%, which gives us 3,794 as a population. So.
Hey, Russ, I'm curious. I think I might have asked this last year too. But the library is, it's kind of, well, it's a partner to the town. So it's kind of their own entity and they run their budget, but we contribute to that.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why they're not coming to present to council their budget.
That's a good question. And I thought we brought them in last year, but I could be mistaken.
Did they not come in by their own means? That was for a
Marigold came in
different
once
presentation.
too.
Well, Marigold came in, but
Marigold.
since being on council, I haven't seen them present their budget. Like, it would be nice to see their full budget, where they're spending their money and presenting to us any increases or decreases or any new staff requests or whatever that looks like.
I do recall that request and I thought that they had come in, but I could be mistaken. So, and if that is the case, I apologize for that and we will make sure that we invite
okay.
them for their.
I just think it would be
Yeah.
good that they did, and they own really that process and their budget. So it'd be nice if they came in and presented their budget.
I can, through the chair, I can probably bring a copy of that if you like, but I don't know if that's quite what you're asking for.
That's not what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
No, and you're on the Marigold board, not the library board.
Fair enough. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we want because the library board, they're not necessarily independent from the town, but they're a civic partner of the town that operates their own budget. They should be presenting their own budget to us, just like the Russ or Merrill or
Yeah, they do.
Amber would.
They do get a fairly good chunk of money from the town.
They
out of
do.
tax money. So.
Yeah.
What I will do, or what we will do, is have a conversation with the library board and figure out when they set their budget, and
Yeah.
then have them come in once they've had those discussions to present that budget to council.
Yep, I think that's great. And that too will let us know where they're spending their extra 3%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions for Russ? If not, I guess that's it. And just thank you. Way better presentations than in the past. So I certainly appreciate that.
That's crazy timing.
Right? 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we've been here for over 3 hours.
Guys,